Hey everyone, Stalky Boy here, and I have seen Halloween Ends 2 times in a row, and I believe it is time to get my first impressions out there. I think it's time to do that. I know we haven't covered all the Halloween films. I've noticed that they haven't been quite as popular, so I don't know if I will cover the last few individually. I do still have plans to review the new trilogy altogether, now that we have the complete picture. But this is just going to be my first impressions after 2 viewings of it. Halloween Ends will eventually get full coverage just like Halloween Kills did. I'll have a edited video 15-20 minutes long eventually. I don't know when it'll come out. I just want to get my thoughts clear on the movie before I do that. Of course there will be a lore build on Michael. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see that. I'm going to go non-spoilers first, and then eventually I'm going to go into spoilers territory. So for those that haven't seen the movie yet, this is a very different Halloween movie. I wouldn't even really say it's much of a slasher. They go in a very different direction. The marketing is very misleading. There is Michael versus Laurie, but it's not until really the very end. I want to mentally prepare you for that. And it isn't really a story about the characters that we've come to love yet either. It is a story about a completely new character, so prepare yourself for that too. Of course, Laurie is in it, Allison is in it. They're in it, but it's not completely their story. Laurie, Jamie Lee Curtis is fantastic as Laurie. And if you haven't noticed, this isn't scripted, none of that. So I may jump around a little bit. I may stutter here and there. I just want to get my first impressions out before eventually I get a full-blown review. Did I like the movie? Yes, I liked the movie, but it definitely has its flaws. I am a lover of slashers, and I'm a lover of the Halloween franchise as a whole, and this movie doesn't really feel like a Halloween movie, which I'm sure was done on purpose. There's no coincidence in them using the same font as Season of the Witch. They knew they were doing something different, and I think a lot of the enjoyment on whether you will like the movie or won't like the movie is how you react to the new character. Character I think they really ruined is Allison. I think Allison really got the short end of the stick in this movie, and I'll go into more detail later in the spoiler section, but I think Allison really got the short end of the stick. The music was still great. John Carpenter and gang still do a fantastic job on the music. That was still very well done. I think the cinematography and all that sort of jazz was really nice. I think this is a very nice looking movie. It didn't really feel like Halloween though when watching it. I'm not just saying it's the film franchise, but the actual holiday itself, it's sort of hard to get that sort of presence from the film. It's not just oozing the holiday from it, which I imagine was probably done on purpose because of the aftermath of Halloween Kills in 2018. They probably don't want to celebrate the holidays much, which that would make sense, but it didn't mean I didn't miss it at all. I was still like, oh man, I kind of wish there was like more of a Halloween vibe to it. Not that it's completely gone from the movie, it's still there, but I was kind of missing those vibes. But I think a lot of people are going to dislike this movie because it doesn't feel like Halloween. It doesn't feel like a slasher film. It is a different movie. And that is kind of one of my complaints. I like that they tried something different. I am pretty cool. I actually like the beginning and end of this movie. I think the beginning and end are pretty great. The middle kind of gets a little shaky for me. Now, obviously, people do die in this movie. It's called Halloween. If people did not die, I would be extremely sad. But I was hoping that because this was more of a slow burnt movie, I was hoping in those sequences that we would get more suspenseful, tension-filled killed sequences. Instead, it's still just like guy shows up, guy dies to killer, and that's kind of it. There isn't like a lot of tension and suspense, which I think the trilogy's lacking in general. 2018 didn't have a chase. At least Kills had a chase. Kills had lots of very fast, intense moments, so it wasn't exactly... There wasn't a ton of tension. It was definitely in the movie, but it was very quick to do it, and I was okay with it in Kills, because the type of movie it was a very aggressive, fast movie, and it still has those tense suspense moments, and 2018 does as well. The marketing ruined some of those moments. But I was hoping for something more reminiscent of the 78 film, especially because this movie is a slow movie. I was entertained throughout it, but it is a slower paced movie. So I was hoping once we got to the kills, it would also be a slower paced sort of sequence, and we could take time to relish in suspense and tension. And you don't really get to do that, which I was a little displeased by it. Not that the kill sequences weren't cool, they were neat, but some of them were very creative and fun. I wouldn't say the kills are the best within the trilogy or the series or anything of the sort. I still think Halloween Kills has some of the best, if not the best, within the trilogy. But final thoughts before going into spoilers. I like the movie. It's my least favorite of the trilogy. I'd probably put it around the middle in terms of Halloween films in which I like. It's probably around the same area as like Age 20 for me. I probably liked it a little more than Age 20, but it's around there. I don't love it. I liked it. It feels very different. Okay, now on to spoilers. You all have 5 seconds. Those that don't want to see the spoilers, you have 5 seconds to leave. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, I'm starting now. I'm going to start now. Haha, I caught you off guard, didn't I? Anyways. Spoilers. So I think the movie was pretty good up until the diner scene. I think Allison, her writing was fine up until she did a few weird things at the party. What was up with the hand thing? What was she like? She was like putting her hands in front of Corey. It was like, bro, give me back my scarecrow mask. I don't know what she wanted from him. She wanted like a cool handshake or something. I don't know. But she was just, leaving it hanging. Corey left her hanging, and it was just weird and awkward. I don't know what she was doing with her hands there. It was so weird. And the party scene in general I thought was a little weird, but then the movie gets back on track. And I really like Corey. Corey works for me, which I think is a big turning point for some people. If Corey works for you, then the movie will be a lot stronger for you. If Corey doesn't work, you're probably not going to like the film very much. But that does not mean Corey is perfect. He is far from perfect. This movie's biggest issue is Allison and Corey's relationship feels very rushed. Like, they're like basically like they've been acting like they've been dating for years on day 3. Way too rushed. Way too rushed. The movie should have started in summer. Corey and Allison should have started dating in summer. And then we jump to October. It would make their feelings for each other so much more believable. But that is not what we got. It feels very rushed, and some of Allison's dialogue is extremely cringy. Especially the dialogue with her when Corey's showing her like the house where Jeremy died, and she's like, "God, when I read about you, I knew my grandmother gave me to you, and I felt like we had this connection." It had me a little, and when she's like, "Burn it to the ground" and stuff like that. It hit me a little, the burn it to the ground hit me a lot more than Evil Dies Tonight. I didn't mind Evil Dies Tonight like some people did. But burn it to the ground, that bothered me. I wasn't a fan of burn it to the ground. And then there is another point of contention for some people that could make or break the film as well. For me, it wasn't the biggest issue. It was easily how rushed Corey and Allison's relationship felt. But of course, for a lot of people, the point of contention will be our boy, Michael Myers. Myers doesn't get very much to do in this movie, and also, he is portrayed as kind of weak for a good portion of the film. For like half the film, he doesn't really kind of like get back into gear, which could definitely upset people. It already has upset people. A lot of people are really upset with the film. Strangely enough, I did want more Michael. I will not lie to you. I did want to see more Michael. I wanted just like 2-3 more scenes with Myers, and I probably would have been very content. I probably would have been a happy little boy. But we don't get that, and it made me a little sad. But the scenes we do get with Michael, I think, is a very interesting, different take on the character. If you don't like it and it doesn't sit well with you, I can completely understand as to why it won't. It is drastically different. It's very weird to see Myers in this sort of state. I completely get you. If you're like, it didn't work for me, I didn't like the film, I get it. It's very different. It doesn't feel like a Halloween film, does it? And as a Halloween fan, because I wanted an experience that would give me a Halloween slasher vibe, I didn't get that. So after my first viewing of the movie, I was confused, man. I was super confused. I was like, what did I just watch? What am I doing here? I am flabbergasted. I did like the movie after coming out of it, but I was confused. I was like, I liked it, but like, it didn't feel like Halloween. I was really sad. I was disappointed. I was. After sitting down and thinking about it, though, and discussing the film with lots of other individuals, and then after seeing a second time, I appreciate it more. I definitely like it more than I did initially. It's sitting better for me. That doesn't mean I love the film, though. It's still, I probably would have preferred the finale to be a little different. I like their concept here, but I think with some tweaks, it could have been something very special. It is very much a flawed film, but this film is begging to be a cult classic. It's gonna develop a following. I mean, already kind of is. Like, there are already people that are like, best Halloween movie ever. If you wanted a more plot-centric Halloween film than Halloween Kills, and if you wanted the Halloween franchise to do something different, this movie delivers. It does do that. It delivers on better character writing. It involves more in-depth characters. It's definitely a character-driven film. And it's also slower paced. So certain people might like, if you didn't really like Halloween Kills, you might really like this one, because it's not really like, Halloween Kills was definitely a slasher. Like, it is full-on slasher. It's a little campy. It's a very fun movie. The dialogue's a little quirky. I love Halloween Kills. It is my favorite sequel. I really, really like Halloween Kills. And this movie is definitely a lot smaller on scale, and there's nothing wrong with that. The original 78 film is very, like, small, contained film. That's not like the whole city is in danger or anything like that. It's a very personal story. I really like the final sequence within this film. I really enjoy it. I think the final fight between Laurie Strode and Myers, it could have been a little longer. I would have liked it to be have been a little longer, but what we do get, I really enjoy it. I like it a lot. And I think the ending in general is pretty good. I enjoyed watching Laurie get her happy ending. I think she deserved it. She's been through so much. I like that she can finally settle down and enjoy life. I really liked the ending of the movie. I think it's a good send-off for Jamie Lee Curtis's last Halloween film. I think it's a great way to send off the character. And I'd say the start of the film's very strong too. I think like the first maybe 40-50 minutes is pretty strong. Corey feels like he develops naturally. You can tell where the movie wants to go. And Corey's such a likable dude, seeing him slowly develop into this madman. It reminded me a lot of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. It reminded me a lot of that sort of development. And I like Joker. I'm a bigger fan of Halloween, but I like Joker, so I was able to enjoy this film as well. And I liked the different take on Myers when he eventually does show up. But as soon as you get to that diner scene, things start getting really weird for me. And like because a lot of those scenes have to deal with Allison and Corey, and I don't think their dynamic. That's when their dynamic gets too rushed and to the point. It's like, well, we need Allison and Corey to be together now. And it feels like they're like, oh, well, you guys are madly in love. Also, Allison, you just want to like freaking leave Haddonfield. It felt so rushed. That little portion of the film, their relationship felt a little rushed. The rest of the movie feels very well thought out. It's very well paced. It seems good. And I could believe the stepping stones into Corey's madness. I could believe it. Also, this movie has like the best Nick Castle cameo. If you don't know, Nick Castle's the hobo that's like, I'm Michael Myers. Great Nick Castle cameo. I think it's the best one in the series. But yeah, the movie starts picking up again once Corey gets Michael's mask, which I also wasn't very fond of. I mean, Michael won most of the exchange except for the very end where Corey does get the better of him. He gets him tackled. For most of their exchange, if you watch, Michael's throwing him around and stuff. He's definitely having the upper hand on Corey. But I think it would have still been better if he tried to take it and Mikey put him in a choke, like, you know, start choking him. And Corey has to, like, put his thumbs into his eyes to momentarily distract him. Mikey's stunned, and in the stun, he takes the mask and runs for his life. I think that would have sat better with a lot of people, and it would have sat better with me. But I think that's about really all I have to say about the movie for now. Of course, I'm going to have my full-blown review. Subscribe if you want to see that. But for now, I think that is about it. I'm sorry if my ramblings were a little all over the place. Like I said, this wasn't scripted. I imagine once this video is once it's all exported, I'm sure I'm going to be like, darn, oh, I forgot to mention this and this and this, but that'll be for a future review. This is just me coming off the movie twice and really expressing how I feel about it off of the top of my head. Eventually, I'll definitely get my impressions further up, and I'm sure I'll talk about it a little more with my lore build. Don't know how long it'll take to get my full review out because I really want to make sure my impressions on this movie are final. My opinion with Halloween Kills changed drastically over the time I had with it, so I want to make sure that Ends stays consistent. Or maybe I might hate it more, I might like it more. I don't know how I'm going to feel about Halloween Ends. With all of that being said, though, thank you all very, very much for watching. What did you think about Halloween Ends? I'm sure a lot is very diversive. Please keep it civil. Remember, you're allowed to have different opinions. Everyone's allowed to like or dislike something. Don't ruin the movie for someone, and don't like bash someone for hating the movie if you enjoyed it. Let's just keep it civil. We're all Halloween fans. Let's all just... It's okay to dislike it. It's okay to like it. We can just have a nice conversation about Halloween. We all love Halloween. So let's keep it civil, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Thank you all very much for watching. Take care, everyone.